My name is Kirsty, aka KJ, and I am a creative, honey, a multifaceted creative. I am a model, I am an actress, and I sing too. That's why I put it up under the umbrella of just all around creative. And one thing that people always ask me about is being in the industry. And people ask me about living in LA. Today, the name of the episode is Welcome to Hollywood. So, I am from Texas. So, you can only imagine how big of a culture shock moving to Los Angeles was for me. Okay, so I moved here in 2019. I moved here 9 months before the pandemic hit. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I always say that I'm one of those people that's very, very fortunate that I experienced the old industry in the old LA, and then I'm experiencing the new industry in the new LA. All signs pointed to this move. And me moving to Los Angeles taught me one thing, that sometimes you just got to do things scared. Okay. I have been knowing so I moved here in 2019, but probably 2 years prior, I had a previous mentor that told me, hey, you're doing some really cool things, but I don't think that you're going to ever realize your full potential until you put yourself in another market. And, at the time, I was like, well, I don't want to. I don't know anyone in LA. I don't want to leave my family behind. I had all the excuses, okay? Making this move, I felt like it would be very, very permanent. And nothing in life is set in stone because if I didn't like it, I could always come back, right? I didn't know how this city would pull me in. Moving here is one of the most challenging things I ever did, but it did wonders for my career. I want to be in the industry. I want to work in the industry. I want to be known. I want to make connections. But year after year, I was still in Texas. And, I would do photo shoots. I would do some really cool modeling gigs here and there. I would hop on a song here and there. But in the back of my mind, I knew that my mentor was right. I knew that if I didn't take the chance and put myself in another market, that I will always wonder. I got the opportunity to do New York Fashion Week. Now, at this time, it was time to re-sign my lease in Texas. So I had to make a decision on what I was going to do. I had been knowing that I wanted to move to Los Angeles for that year, but I just didn't know when I was going to make that move. So I go to New York Fashion Week and I do all the things, okay? I'm very inspired by New York Fashion Week because I've never done a job on that scale. So I'm very excited, I'm very inspired by it. So then that leads to me just having a knowing in my spirit that, girl, now is the time. Like, you don't have any children, you don't have anything tying you down or keeping you here. So you got to make that move. So it feels like everything just kind of fell into place. I ended up moving out of my apartment. I was going to sign another lease. But after New York Fashion Week, it was like crunch time. So I came there. I did not sign another lease. I moved everything out of my apartment within a couple of weeks. And I was so scared because I didn't really know what was going to happen. I moved in with some friends for a couple of months before I decided to make my big move out here. I came back and forth to find an apartment. And child, that is another episode, honey, about what it takes to find somewhere to live in LA. All a part of the journey, child. Some of my LA moments deserve their own separate episodes, honey. And it's coming. It's coming. So you just got to stay tuned. The things that people ask me about the most, they ask me about working in the industry. And let me just say this, if you think you can do it, you can do it. But if you think you can't do it, you're right about that too. Because you know your capabilities, you know your full capabilities. One thing I'm going to say is going to sound so cliche is you just have to keep on going. You have to keep on trying. You just have to keep moving. If life knocks you down and you can find the strength to just keep on moving, then that's half the battle right there. And you just got to keep showing up for yourself. But this industry is tough, but you can do it. Like, it's doable. I'm doing it. And for me to have lasted this amount of time here, I feel so honored. I feel so blessed, but I feel so empowered because this is one of the hardest things that I've ever done. So I'm a plus size model here, and sometimes I'm scared to go after jobs that is not under the title plus size. But I'll tell you, that first year that I was here, I ended up booking my first campaign. Shout out to Sarah Jakes Roberts because she was my first campaign for her Woman Evolve movement. And I just remember her stylist, Jay Bolin. Shouts out to Jay Bolin. How you doing? But Jay Brolin, he did a model call because they were looking for girls. And he did not say, I'm looking for plus size models. He said, I'm looking for models. I was very scared to apply, first of all. Before coming to LA, people tried to talk me out of actually coming and saying, well, they don't really like plus size people there. You may not book work there because they're fat phobic. And I just had to really just believe in myself. So Jay Bolin puts the model call out and he posted to his social media. I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna submit. And I submit to it and I get a callback. And they're asking like my availability. So just because they ask for your availability, it doesn't mean that you book the job. So I'm waiting for some days and I'm like, I go to the nail shop and I'm like, I guess I didn't get it. As soon as I think that thought, they hit me with a confirmation email. A lot of times in my journey, it just took me taking that first step and trying because you never know. So if you want to be in this industry, whether that be modeling, whether that be acting, whether that be singing, you got to put your best foot forward. But doubting yourself is going to be something you can't do because the worst they can say is no, or the worst thing that can happen is that you don't book it. But there are a million other things to book in the city. There are a million opportunities waiting for you. Sometimes you got to create them, and sometimes they just got to find you, or you got to find them. A lot of time, the thing that's standing in our way is the limits that are on our minds. If this is meant for you, honey, you are going to book work, okay? Child, y'all always be asking me if I got a man. Honey, I am currently single. But let's just touch on this very briefly because this deserves its own episode too. Dating in LA. Lord. I guess I'll just give y'all a little dating story. One time I met this really, really nice man. He was very nice, very handsome. He was very much a man that loved to butter you up. Like he loved to compliment me. Everything was, oh darling, like you so beautiful. And so he wants to go on a date to the beach. So he picks me up. He's like, we should have a picnic at the beach. We have snacks. He got his speaker. He got his blankets in the back. And I'm like, oh, this is not his first rodeo. Okay. So I'm like, I'm feeling good. We having a good time. So we get to the beach. He lays the blanket all down nice on the sand. We putting our toes in the sand. We having a good conversation. So then he's like, I want to see your Instagram. And I'm like, okay, I want to see your Instagram too. He's like, I want to stalk your Instagram with you right here. So he's looking at my pictures, liking all of them, like, yes, beautiful, And then so I'm like, I'm going to do it to you too. So I go to his Instagram, and the first picture I see is him with a beautiful young lady. I'm just looking through the pictures like dumbfounded, okay? I'm like, now I know we ain't out here with our toes in the sand, and this Negro, he got a girlfriend? So I ask out loud. I don't just assume. I say, hey, do you got a girlfriend? And he look at me dead in my face, y'all, and say, yeah. And he said, yeah. Like he ain't do nothing wrong. So listen, I had turned over a new leaf by the time I moved to LA because the old Kirsty, y'all already know. If y'all knew me way back then, y'all already know. But I just took a deep breath and I laughed because the audacity. That is the word for today, boys and girls. Audacity. And that little scenario right there, that sums up dating in LA right there in a nutshell. Amen. Take that how you must. But listen, if you plan on living out here, caution yourself, okay? Baby, because they're going to work on your nerves. But listen, I believe maybe it's all character development. It's all a part of the journey, like I said, okay? But love is still a big to be continued. I don't know, but it don't mean that this experience haven't been a blessing. Child, and another thing y'all always asking me about is being on TV. Girl, yes, I have been on TV many times, honey. And my very first TV appearance, I feel like the universe was definitely trying to let me know, girl, you is meant to do this, okay? My very first TV appearance was with Vanessa Williams and Rick Fox. I'll tell a little story about it. I started this series called Low Key Legendary Child, but y'all was not watching it because y'all be skipping right past my videos, but then y'all always want to ask for my advice. That's why I'm doing this podcast, to find some people who really want to hear what I'm talking about, because it's meant for me to get this inspiration out into the world. But yes, I was very lucky and blessed for my very first TV appearance to be Vanessa Williams and Rick Fox. I will tell you, don't get caught up in the trap of not wanting to do background. Doing background and being on set has taught me so much about this industry. No one is above background and paying your dues. Please, please, please immerse yourself in that experience. You know why? Because you never know who you're going to meet. Some of my biggest opportunities have come from doing background. I might tell you a joke, but I will never tell you a lie. Okay? Don't fall into the hype, because a lot of people come here and fall into the hype. I'm very blessed that this has been my journey. It has been some ups and downs. All around, I could say this has really taught me a lot about myself. And I just hope you guys stay tuned, because some of my LA moments and some of my moments in life, period, they deserve their own episodes. But I just wanted to give y'all a little intro. Because, girl, really, my life is really very interesting. And you know what? I might be able to inspire, help, laugh, and cry with some of y'all along the way, okay? So, girl, really, stay tuned for me and all my shenanigans, okay? Don't follow your dreams, chase them. And I mean, chase them down, honey.